Hi, everybody. Hello. Happy Tuesday. Good to see you on Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and all the places where my people lurk throughout the day. If you're working and you're stuck at your desk, you could probably watch this and stand up and stretch a little bit. That would be a nice way to kick things off. Hello, and feel free to comment and say hi, because I get that here off of my broadcasting system, and I love to know who's out there. I see the little eye that says 25 people are watching or 100 people are watching, and sometimes I don't know who they are. Usually I have no clue who's out there. So we're going to talk about strength training today, the 4 pillars of strength training. And I think it's important. Well, I know that it's important to know these pillars, because once you understand this, you'll be able to more sophisticatedly design your own workouts. And unless you've got a high-end trainer that's going to help you do the right thing every single day, it's good to know the things, right? It's good to have some information. Hi, Ami. Oh, what a beautiful picture. What a beautiful smile. Nice to see you. So before I get started with the strength training, I just have to give you one little trainer tip, whatever. So snacks don't always have to be boring. And yes, I love it when people have produce and I eat lots of nuts and Kind bars and things. But this was my snack I was just having, and I thought I would brag. Hi, Jordan. Nice to see you. So look, baked ruffles. So potato chips, actual potato chips. And what are the ingredients on this thing? It's like potatoes, cornstarch, corn oil, sugar, blah, 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 salt. But they're baked, right? So they're only 120 calories per thing. And guacamole. Yay! Snacks can be fun. And I know everyone loves guacamole. Not everyone, but lots of people love guacamole. But guacamole tends to have a lot of calories. So we think, oh, bad, we should not have guacamole. But yeah, guacamole is a really, avocados are really nutritious. And yes, they have fats, but they're the good kind of fats, that are really good for your brain, et cetera, et cetera. So baked chips, guacamole, and I'm a happy camper, right? I've had a little bit of protein, a little bit of carbohydrates, a little bit of guacamole, of the healthy fats, and potatoes are filled with potassium, and I don't think a lot of people know that. So anywho, I'm going to get started on the 4 pillars of strength training. And again, if you know this stuff, then you should be a lot less lost when you're trying to figure out how to design your own workout. And why should you strength train? Well, strength training is the fountain of youth. Muscles are really important. Muscles control your body movement, right? If you have strong muscles, you can move in a more powerful way. You can leap, you can jump, you can run faster, you can lift things without injury. And that's really one of those day-to-day real life consequences, is that sometimes people pick up the groceries and then instantly go, my back, or they pick up their child or their grandchild, or I don't know, a sack of potatoes perhaps. But if you are strong, you are so much less likely to get injured than if you are weak. So muscles matter, and some people are intimidated by muscles, right? They go, I don't want big muscles. Okay, well, I technically don't want really big muscles either, but I lift a god-awful amount of weight. Do I look like I've got big muscles? I am a weightlifter. I probably go as often, lift as much per pound of body weight that Arnold Schwarzenegger does, but it doesn't impact me that way because I'm a woman and I am lacking all the testosterone necessary to make those muscles. And I could replace the testosterone, or at least the effects, if I went bonkers with protein powders and all sorts of nutritional efforts. But I don't want that. But you know what? Strength training makes me strong. And that's what we want. I want to be a powerful person. I want to be able to lift things up and push things back and pull the things I want to. And it's about movement and it's about performance. So strength matters. You do not have to fear strength training. And some people say, well, I just want to tone. Well, what does toning mean? What is the act of toning? I have no idea. Yeah, I've been in teaching fitness for decades now. I still have no freaking clue what people mean when they say, I just want to tone. So either you're strength training, you're getting stronger, or you're not. There is no middle ground. So muscles matter. They also, strength training also builds bone density. It's good for your bones. And, you know, besides the way we perform, I think lean, hard muscles are damn sexy. I think they're sexy. Muscles of any size, super big muscles, super small muscles. It's a way to put all the curves in the right places. So for vanity's sake, if that's the only reason you strength train, okay, fine, whatever. You'll still get the benefits of resiliency and being less likely to be injured and being able to perform better. But yeah, strength training matters. And so we're going to start with philosophy number one is you need to train all of your muscles, right? We don't just choose, we're going to go upper body only. Some men do that. And I'm calling you out, boys. Some guys are like, I'm just going to do the bench press and push-ups and I don't know, deltoids, and I'm not doing lower body. That's absurd because your lower body is the thing that stands you up every day, moves you around. Your legs matter, and vice versa. Sometimes I get the ladies saying, well, I just want to work my butt. Okay, well, what about your shoulders, your lifting muscle? Aren't you ever going to push things or pull things in? And the answer to that is yes. So you have to work all the muscles. And the way you work all the muscles usually is start with the largest muscle first. So if you're going to go to the gym today, or you're going to go in your garage and start strength training in there, I want you to start with the biggest muscles. And you might go, well, how do I know which are the biggest muscles? The biggest muscles are the ones that are closest to your belly button, right? So they start in and go out. And now the reason we do the bigger muscles first is because you need the little muscles to work your big muscles. And look, I'm just grabbing my boob. This is a very exciting live stream. I'm going to move out of the banner. There you go. You need the big muscles to work the little muscles, or you need the little muscles to work the big muscles, but you do not need the big muscles to work the little muscles. And I'll show you an example. For bench press, chest press, push-up, you have to go like that, right? So in order to work this muscle, my shoulders, my biceps, my triceps, everything needs to work to push forward. That works my pecs. However, if I want to work my shoulders, I don't have to work my chest, right? It's just isolating this muscle. If I want to work my biceps, I just fold my arm. I do not need to engage my chest. The same thing goes for my back. So you work those big muscles first. You can really fatigue your chest. And then once your chest is exhausted, you can still do more for specifically your shoulders or specifically your biceps. And the same goes for your lower body. So the only caveat to those big muscles first is I'd prefer you work your abdominal muscles and your low back muscles last, even though they're pretty big. And the reason being is they're required to keep you upright. So if you're going to train lower body, for example, and you start off working your abs and your low back, well, if you fatigue those muscles right away, they're not going to be able to support you as you do lunges or as you do squats. They will be fatigued and you will lose proper form and things will go awry. So other than your abdominal muscles and your low back muscles, you start with the big and move out. You start with your glutes, your hips, and you go down quads and hamstring, adductors, abductors, calves, anterior tibialis, etc. So if anyone has any questions about that, and hi, Walter. Walter is one of my favorite athletes in Los Angeles area. And I miss you very much, Walter. And I'm sure you saw the news that both the Los Angeles Marathon and OC Marathon are going to be on the same day this year, which is not awesome. But I'm going to be announcing OC. Rudy's going to go to LA. So obviously you need to come be an OC with me. Although I feel like you might end up in LA, but yeah, pick me. All right, next principle for strength training, besides work the largest muscle first, is that you have to work opposing muscles equally. So your bicep, for example, it bends your arm. Your triceps extend your arm. These muscles work against each other. And because of that, we want there to be some sort of balance because if the bicep is super strong, you've done this thing, but you haven't extended and your tricep is super weak, you're far more likely to injure the weaker muscle. And so we don't want imbalance. Our body craves symmetry in all directions. And so that goes for your shoulders and then your lats. They pull your arms down. Your quadriceps extend your legs. Your hamstrings bend your legs, and those muscles should be even as well. Your adductors, your inner thighs, bring your legs together. Abductors, bring your legs apart. Abductors, traditionally weak on most people, something everybody should be doing, and I'll address that specifically on another day. But anyways, opposing muscles equally. So if you can curl 20-pound dumbbells, you should be able to extend 20-pound dumbbells. And if you can't, work on it. Does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions out there in internet land? No? Anyone have any answers? All right, remember, feel free to use the comments because I'm getting most of them here. So Walter, I'm putting your comment away, but know that I love you. All right, next principle for strength training is that once you've trained a muscle, and when I say train a muscle, I'm talking about a hard workout, right? You've done your shoulder workout, doing like that. You press, press, press. You've lifted, 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 and now your shoulders are fatigued because you have done a good job with your training. You need to give that muscle 48 hours to recover before you train it again. What? I like to train every day. You can train every day. You just can't do strength training on a specific muscle group back-to-back days. And the reason being is when you are strength training properly, you are actually damaging tiny muscle fibers. You're causing microscopic tears, and that's a good thing. And so once you tear these muscle fibers, your body sends in these super troops over to that region to repair, rebuild, and grow stronger. And that's how we build strength, is because of those troops that go in and repair and rebuild. Now, if you do this killer shoulder workout today, and then tomorrow you get up and say, I love that, I'm going to do shoulders again. And then you get up again and say, I'm going to do shoulders again. Well, you're never allowing your body to do the repair, rebuild, recover, grow stronger. And so all you're doing is tearing that muscle down. Now, you might have seen, in fact, I'm confident you've seen these 21-day or 30-day push-up challenges. Instantly, you know that program was designed by a hack, because absolutely anybody with any knowledge as a fitness professional, an actual fitness professional, they know that you do not train particular muscles on back-to-back days. So if you see those 30-day challenges where they have you targeting the same muscle group over and over and over, your job is to say, hell to the no, I'm not doing that, because Fitz told me I need to give these muscles about 48 hours. Now, mind you, say you go to the gym at 5 today, you get this killer workout, and then 2 days later, you want to go to the gym at 3. Okay, you can do the 46-hour window. It doesn't have to be precise, but it is approximate, and there's been a lot of research going into sport performance and applied physiology, kinesiology, the way your body moves, the way your body improves, and so give that 48-hour window whenever you can. Now, mind you, this rule only applies to strength training. You can go running on back-to-back days. You can go dancing on back-to-back days or swimming. That is okay. Cardio is different than strength training designed to tear those tiny muscle fibers. You can stretch. Not only can you stretch every day, you can stretch 20 times a day and you'll be better for it. The same thing with balance. You can train for balance multiple times a day without any detriment. But with strength training, you have to give those specific muscle groups 48 hours-ish to rest and recover, or you get diminishing results and you've wasted your time, which is super sad. Okay, next rule for strength training, and this is my rule for strength training, is strength training should be hard. And so, especially, I'm going to go back to the girls. The girls really like to go, oh, I'm just going to get the 5s and swing them around. If there's any sort of weight in your hand or attached to your body and you can just swing it, put it down. Put it down. Stop wasting your time. You need to find a weight that challenges you. And, you know, the rule of thumb is if you pick it up and you think, geez, this is heavy, bingo, you're on the right track. And sometimes when I used to do personal training or when I'm doing a clinic and I give someone a weight, sometimes they go, oh, Fitz, this is heavy. And they give me the face and I go, yes, it's supposed to be heavy. We are lifting heavy things. That's what strength training is. It's, I lift heavy things. You pick them up, you put them down, you grow stronger. So you should be challenged by this weight. Now, the caveat is you don't pick something up that's going to cause injury. And how do you know? Well, you pick them up in baby steps. Maybe you're going to do something simple like bicep curls. You go pick up the 5 and you go, too easy. You pick up the 10. A little better, not quite heavy enough. Then you pick up the 12, and maybe the 12 you go, yeah, that's kind of hard. If you can squeak out between 6 and 10 repetitions, and by number 6, you're thinking, "Oy, this is really hard," and number 10, you're thinking, "Holy Lord, put it down," then you've chosen the right weight. And that goes for all your strength training exercises, bench press, squats, whatever. It should be challenging for you. And if you're not, I hate to say you're wasting your time, but you're certainly not growing stronger. And that's the purpose of strength training, is to increase strength, increase resiliency, build bone density, and of course, hard, sexy curves. And the hard, sexy curves part isn't so bad, right? I'm looking at some of my guests here, the people commenting, and I can think of hard, sexy curves on all of you. Hey, Brian Solberg, Dr. Brian Solberg, yes, thank you. Those every day, same exercises, the push-ups, sit-ups, etc. seems so dangerous. Yeah, and Brian, he's a smarty pants. Brian's actually a doctor. And he understands the body. But yeah, the problem is there's a lot of people who maybe they like exercise, they look the part. Maybe they've gotten some sort of, certification out of some sort of Cracker Jack box. And that sounds kind of mean, but the problem with all of that is that person I just described with minimal credentials and minimal training, they instantly say, well, here's my business card, and now I'm ready to manage your spinal column. I'm ready to take charge of your heart and lungs and your joints. And those things are really, really important. And that's one of the reasons I went and got my master's in exercise and sports sciences, is because I respect the human body. And for the most part, most of our parts are irreplaceable, right? I mean, we may have to do the hip or knee replacement one day, but we don't want to do that. And we certainly don't want to do it because we've screwed it up, because we took some really bad advice. So yeah, the human body matters, your spinal column matters. And so going back to working hard, this is the gauge to know whether you're working hard. When I got a little my virtual has gone awry as I'm trying to catch the gnat. The rule of thumb is that you should be grunting. At some point you should go, like that. That's how you know you are working hard. So if you're do, not good enough, but if you pick up the dumbbell or you start doing the squat with a bar on your back and you go, like that, the grunt tells you you are on the right track. And we sometimes pick on that guy who's at the gym going, and maybe that's excessive, but I'm going to give that guy credit because unless he's really faking it, he's getting stronger. And that's what this is all about. So you can wear your tank top with the big armhole and you can grunt and groan all you want. And I will give you respect because I know you're doing the right thing to benefit yourself. And all of that really matters. So a refresher or recap is we work all the body parts. We start with our biggest muscles first and move down to the smallest. We work opposing muscle groups evenly. We wait 48-ish hours between training the same muscle group. And then last but not least is that you work hard. You challenge your body when you're strength training. You're purposely trying to get stronger. And that is what is going to cause change and improvement within your body. And here's a neat thing is, I help a lot of people lose weight with the exact formula for weight loss. If you're unfamiliar with that, go to fitsness.com. It's on the cover page down the bottom, but I'll teach you how to eat the right amount of the right food for the size that you want to be within about 5 minutes of reading. So go there. But what's really fun is when people shed the layers of fat off of their body, whether they're losing 100 pounds or 8 pounds, then is the Michelangelo stage. Then we get to really shape and sculpt your body. You may shed the weight and go, you know what? I'd really like bigger, stronger arms and shoulders. Okay, let's do that. Strength training. I'd like a more curvy, high, plump rear end. Okay, let's do that. But the way we do that is strength training. There are some sports that will allow you to get to the point B on either side as well. I mean, boxing, hitting a heavy bag is likely to help you build some strong muscles in your upper body for sure. If you're a soccer player, if you're a cyclist, you're definitely likely to build quality lower body muscles that perform well and look great. But yeah, strength training is the answer to all of it. And I tell you what, I truly believe it is the fountain of youth. And the one thing I haven't mentioned about strength training is that it absolutely boosts your metabolism. So maybe instead of being a person who burns, 10 calories per minute running, you might be the person who burns 12 calories per minute while running because you have increased your muscle mass. The more muscle you have, the more calories you will burn doing absolutely anything. So it should be a high priority for you. And then as far as quality of life goes, when we look at our elderly parents and grandparents and we worry about them, the reason we start worrying is because we look and see how weak they are, right? We go, oh, they're weak, and yikes, they've got poor balance. And, too many people are just laser focused on cardio, where really quality of life and longevity comes because of strength and balance and even flexibility. Those other pillars of fitness really are game changers. So, anyone have any questions? I ask again. Oh, and speaking of aging, today I spent some time with my 96-year-old gym BFF, Billy Bob. She is at the gym I attend, and she's an ambassador. So she shows up most days of the week. She has a little candy bowl full of mints and things, and she greets people at the door, and she takes some fitness classes. Sit to be Fit particularly is a really good fit for her. And she serves as an inspiration to everyone in the gym, all the men, women, children, and the older folks of all age, the people ages and races, and everyone loves Billy Bob. Everyone wants to be Billy Bob when we grow up. And man, is she a bright spot. She is just heaven on earth. And so it was her 96th birthday today, and the gym had a big party for her in the patio with balloons and cupcakes. And she just stood out there holding court, and she is as precious as they come. And it's a real privilege to be Billy Bob's friend. So she and I went to lunch for Christmas, and for her birthday, I'm going to take her to lunch again, which is really a treat for me. And this is what she tells me. She tells me about back in the day. And again, it's 100 years ago. She grew up in Georgia, and she's so Southern. It's spectacular. It's everything you wish for from a Southern woman from the deep South. And she was a debutante. So the stories of Billy Bob being a debutante, and she still refers to her parents as mama and daddy. And it's just a real delight to listen to her. So Billy Bob, she's the highlight of my day. Brian has another comment. I love Brian's comments. Brian has challenges balancing the heaviness of weights with the challenges of his spinal cord injury. I find I have to do lots of reps with lighter weights. Is that okay? Yeah, and Brian, we've talked about this before. So you are an outlier, right? So there's not a one-size-fits-all routine for everybody. And if you don't know Brian, he's an extraordinary athlete who is unstoppable. And he has, I think, completed 100 marathons on foot since his spinal column injury. And he actually had a birth defect. And that was, I think, if I'm getting the story right, Brian, it was exacerbated by an accident. So he walks, he's got a little bit of balance issues and some tremors, and he wears braces, and he calls it a shuffle. But if it's a shuffle, then I'm shuffling too. He moves across a marathon course at an incredible pace. And because of the spinal column thing, he says he needs guides. And okay, Brian, maybe, but I just look at it as Brian's being accompanied by hot chicks at every race he does. He says, I need some support. And that may or may not be true, Brian. I don't know. I'm calling you out. You may not need this guide, but he's got hot chicks that follow him around from marathon to marathon. And I do know that they tear open his nutrition and do help in little ways. I'm just teasing you, but it's pretty magical to see. And I've not been one of the hot chicks out on the course with Brian, but I fancy myself as the hot chick waiting for him at the finish line. And so you're in a different category, Brian, and you have to do what works for you. So absolutely lower weights that allow you to maintain your balance and aren't doing any harm to your spinal column injury, your neck, obviously. I'm not ever going over your head with weights. But yeah, higher reps, and a lower weight. But I do still think you're probably challenging yourself once you get to rep number 15 or 20, and that's awesome. So you're building endurance as opposed to size. You're probably never going to pick up big size because of that, but you also probably don't want that. So that's a great question. And folks, what I am giving advice out is for the normal, healthy, average person. You know, if you're dealing with injuries or lack of abilities or motions, and physical therapy is a fantastic choice. So for example, I can give you all great advice on eating healthy. However, if you're a diabetic, you need to go to a nutritionist, right? You need to go to a physician who's going to look at your blood work and send you on to the right person. And so if you're dealing with illness or injury, then a physical therapist is certainly the right maneuver for you. Brian comments, loves me, love having you wait. I do love waiting for you at the finish line. And he just finished marathon 205. So this is what's cool about Brian is he shows up at as many events as possible, but with no events, he still is continuing. He gets out on his own at 4 a.m. or worse, and then goes and does a marathon on his own, 26.2 miles without the fanfare, without the nutrition provided to you from a race organization. It's pretty inspiring. So if you have been watching this and you've been thinking, gosh, I can't, I have all these excuses, you don't. You have no valid excuses. I'm not accepting them. You're going to have to get a written note from the doctor for me to consider your excuses, because I've seen too many people enduring too many things perform at a high level. So giddy up, right? Does anyone have any more questions? I always like to ask. Oh, and if you haven't seen yet, I am very excited that on March 22nd, I have a live interview with legendary coach Steve Spurrier. He was here. He won a Heisman here as an athlete at the University of Florida, and then he went on to coach our team and earn us many SEC championships and a national title. Then he went to the NFL, wasn't his favorite. He went back to the SEC and coached the South Carolina Gamecocks for a while, and he's opening a restaurant here in Gainesville, Florida called Spurrier's. And here's the deal. Some people think Spurrier's is a sports bar. Not a sports bar. It's also not fine dining. It's somewhere in between. You can compare it to maybe Houston's, but I had a tour yesterday and it's gorgeous. And there's a million things I love about Coach Spurrier, but I love that he's so witty and he's king of the zingers. And I'm just hoping that perhaps he will zing me during our interview and I won't even know what happened. He just rattle my head, but I love him and I'm super excited about that. So tune in. We'll be here on LinkedIn. I'll also be broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube that day. It's May 22nd at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hello, Andrew. I like your little icon. All right, friends. Well, that is it for today. I'm going to giddy up. I got stuff to do, but I love you all. And follow me at Fitzness on all of these channels. And then when you utilize my strength training guidance, reach back out and say, hey, I tried that and it worked. It was great. Bobby Biggs. Okay, I'm going to stop. Bobby Biggs and I went to, I'm sorry, you can't see this. I'm sorry. Bobby Biggs and I went to elementary school together. So good to see you, Bobby. Hello. And yeah, it's cool that you were on Facebook Live too. I hope that you'll message me privately and we could catch up. That would be a lot of fun. I remember you coming to my birthday party and I was 7 years old or something. That was great. Bobby and he had little brothers that came to, and little brothers, my mom references as being little troublemakers, but Bobby was not a troublemaker. He was a good egg. And Natalie's here. That's okay, Natalie. Nice to see you. I love your profile picture. Hey, listen, this video will stay live on my LinkedIn account. So if you want to go back and if anyone wants to go back and re-listen to my brilliant discussion about strength training, well, I sure would love that. And yeah, I'd love to connect with you all soon. I am going to end, even though awesome people keep joining me, but I'll come back on hopefully tomorrow and we'll talk about some other very exciting topic within health and fitness. So I love you guys. Go eat something healthy, go get some exercise and get to work. Bye, everybody. Bye, team.